Coming up at 8:06, we'll have Juan Williams, friend of the show, Fox News analyst, who I believe the other day, trying to get some interest in the Sunday morning talk shows, was talking about how it just so happens that those who are favoring impeachment are white and old.
Yeah, the Tea Party is a bunch of old white racists.
Right.
And that's who's driving the impeachment train, even though it's Obama flacks that seem to want to talk about impeachment the most. But Juan Williams has to earn his $1 million at Fox.
Yeah, understood. Joining us in the studio right now, Jenny Beth Martin, who is from Georgia, and in February 2009, she got a little upset about the expansion of the federal government, so she formed the beginnings, helped form the beginnings of the Tea Party movement, and her group is the Tea Party Patriots. Thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, are you a racist, according to Juan Williams? You are.
Well,
you're not a man.
You're not old.
Yeah. I'm not a man. I'm in my 40s. The Tea Party has helped people like Tim Scott and Alan West get elected. We also, Tea Party Patriot Citizens Fund, endorsed T.W. Shannon in Oklahoma. And there is a lot of diversity that the Tea Party is bringing, and without that, the Republican Party probably wouldn't have nearly as much. You can look at Nikki Haley, who's a young woman who is of Indian descent in South Carolina, who is the governor there. It's crazy to say things like that.
And what about some of the impeachment talk? Do you feel it to be a distraction and not where the focus of the conversation should be?
We are certainly not focused there. Last week we were very focused on what was happening with the immigration bill that was passing through Congress, and our supporters understand that we've got to get through November right now. We have elections to focus on.
Molly Ball has a piece in The Atlantic out yesterday saying the Tea Party are noisy, quixotic, and delusional. You're causing a lot of trouble out there, but you're not piling up too many victories. We note Pat Roberts, the incumbent senator from Kansas, staved off a Tea Party challenge from Dr. Milton Wolfe last night. So what do you say to that criticism that it's a lot of sound and fury signifying not too much in terms of electoral victories?
Well, we always have known it's going to be an uphill battle, and we are continuing. Pat Roberts still did not get 50% of the vote. The majority of the people in Kansas did not vote for him. And we have had some wins. Last night, Amash won, Molinar won from Michigan as well, and we'll continue to have some wins and some losses. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of who wins or loses the election, we will continue to hold the elected officials accountable once they are in Congress, just as we did last week.
We're talking with Jenny Beth Martin of Tea Party Patriots. Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. I mean, you're going to hold their feet to the fire, make sure that they stay conservative and don't become part of the establishment and, get in on the gravy train just like the Republicans seem to do all the time.
They really do seem to get on the gravy train, and we will hold them accountable and make sure that they understand that the majority of Americans are concerned about the debt. We're $17 trillion in debt. It's $58,000 per man, woman, and child in this country, and we need solutions out of Washington, D.C. I think so many of the politicians in D.C. get stuck in that bubble, and they don't understand what the rest of us see around the country.
But isn't there this, there's this schism, the demographics of the country are changing. It's so much now, all you hear about are how the Republicans have to appeal to Hispanic voters. They've got to get them, they've got to have comprehensive immigration. And, while, people like us are constantly talking about the $17 trillion debt. I still remember the Republican convention, that debt sign up there, and it was like, yeah, that resonated with me. Rest of the country, there's I don't know if you call it the 47%, which turned out to be over 50% in the election, sees it another way. How do you bridge that gap?
Well, I think that part of what happens is Congress is able to oftentimes control and shift the focus of our attention, and we have to continue to keep pushing when it's important. People are very concerned about the debt when the debt ceiling is being voted on. Right now, because immigration and the border have been in the news so much, it's one of the #1 issues that people are concerned about right now. And the fact of the matter is, the majority of Americans understand there already is a legal pathway to citizenship in this country. We want to make sure that the people who have followed the rules and followed the laws and come here to pursue the American dream are rewarded, and we don't treat them unfairly by allowing the people who've broken the law special treatment.
And so how do you react, or what do you say when you hear the president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce suggest that without so-called comprehensive immigration reform, like has been advanced but hasn't gone anywhere, without passing that, Republicans might as well not even field a presidential candidate in 2016, as well as the U.S. Chamber, an ostensible Republican-leaning organization, taking postures against conservative candidates trying to, some may argue, eradicate the Tea Party movement within the Republican Party?
Well, one of the things that I've learned in the last 5 years is that we have a problem in America because we have big government and big business and big labor all teaming up to make sure they all have their special little deals and they scratch each other's back, while the rest of us normal Americans are being left out. There are more people who are not working today than any time in recent years in America. More Americans who are not working. Those Americans need to be able to get back to work. We need to be focusing on those Americans, and we have to take care of our country so we can help other countries later, but right now that's not what we're doing.
And the Republican National Committee is in town this week. All the mystics are getting together to do their business. How has the Tea Party, how has Tea Party Patriots and the Tea Party movement been treated, in your estimation, by Reince Priebus, the RNC chairman, and kind of the establishment of the Republican Party generally?
Well, I haven't had really very much contact or interaction with most of the RNC in the last 5 years. We're here this week because we want the RNC to censure Henry Barber, who is part of the Republican National Committee. He was involved in race-baiting ads in the Mississippi primary runoff election against Chris McDaniel. And the Republican Party has to understand there are some lines they don't need to be crossing. And we're going to see if they're listening to that this week or not.
We'll see if Juan Williams was listening to that sentiment that you just expressed. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Welcome to Chicago, Jenny Beth Martin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming up, it's